Hey friends, welcome to another episode with me, Marquita of Marquita Makes. I'm so happy to have you here with me today in my little corner of the internet where I talk about mainly crochet, my attempts at knitting, and other crafts like planning. So if you are a subscriber, thank you again for returning. If you are a new viewer, I'm so glad you came to check me out and I hope that you like what you see today. So I started off this year with some very strong goals. For the most part, I've been sticking to them, and one of them being I actually have a finished object because I've been working one whip at a time, and they are my socks, my Rundle socks by Deanne Ramsey. It's a paid for pattern, and they've turned out so well. I'll insert a few pictures. So first I'd like to talk about this yarn. I've mentioned Flower Garden Yarns before several times. I love her yarns. This is a workhorse yarn. If I'm not mistaken, it's 75% merino, 25% nylon. Lovely, lovely. Nice and squishy, about a medium silent squish. If you're new to my channel, I give all my yarns a little squish and listen to hear how silent it is. If it's quiet, it is like the softest, like cashmere. Oh my goodness, like cashmere. If you just hear a little, you can, there's the merino is a nice quality, but that nylon is making that, that sound come through. Well, these are a really nice squish, have great texture. They're soft. They're definitely neighbors. They're definitely a workhorse yarn, which is excellent for socks. That's what they're for. Now, I bought this as a sock set. This was my contrasting color here. Now we'll get into the pattern. Speaking of the contrast color, I ran out. I ran out when I got to the heel, which this sort of stitch, because I'm trying not to give away a pattern, should be worked to about right here. This look should go up to here, but I ran out of contrasting color, so I just went ahead, picked up my main color, and started this textured pattern here. Now, in all honesty, full disclosure, I love it. I would rather it been this particular way, because when I looked at pictures of the way others had made their heel and the contrast color up to here, I wasn't really crazy about it. Another thing, I don't know how, but I saw quite a few people on Instagram that made this pattern. They would say that their socks turned out rather large. That wasn't the case for me. Mine turned out the perfect size. They are a perfect fit. I don't know, it's because I stitch really tight and my feet are pretty narrow. I don't know. But these socks are so nice. This yarn is so warm. It's everything I wanted it to be except one thing. I did run into some issues here, as I mentioned. Yes, I ran out of contrasting color, but when reading the pattern, I got really confused about what it wanted you to do at this heel turn. And I know it looks okay, but from what the pattern said, my stitch count didn't add up in the decrease with it. So this was the only part, like, it was preventing me from moving forward. So when this ran out, I just went with it and I just picked up and I just start working this. So I would give this pattern a 9 out of 10 because I don't know exactly why this didn't work out for me, but it was a very well written pattern. Even things other than that, other things that I would think, oh, I should do this, or this feels right, it's almost like Deanne was in my head to say, oh no, you don't. It's just that one thing though with the decreased count. I'm not sure what I did wrong, but I think this was a really good pattern for advanced, beginner, intermediate crocheters, but I love them. Love how it turned out. And two, there was also some information on the invisible seam, which you can see worked out pretty well for me, except I mentioned that I ran out of contrasting color. One of my bonbons, I'm not sure why, but one of my bonbons had more than the other, so I had to tie a knot, and I don't know, but I can see my knot, not where I ended the stitching in with the invisible seam, but my knot, so I didn't do a very good job hiding that. But other than that, it looks really good. Like I had them, it was a very good, it's a very good pattern. Okay, so that is one of my whips that is finished. So that's my finished object. And I also want to talk about a few things that are going on in the community right now. One of my goals for 2022 was to work from my stash, not buy any yarn. I've been doing fairly good when it comes to that. It's just I've been looking at some yarns I want to buy so badly, like this. I want that yarn so bad by Apothecary Fiber Company. I bought her gingerbread village yarn. It is so gorgeous and so yummy. If I buy that, don't judge me. It is so beautiful. I want to make a sweater out of it so bad. Please don't judge. Don't. Like Michael said, don't do that. I don't know if you watch Piece for Piece Crafting, but Michael is hilarious. And speaking of Michael, he's a knitter, awesome knitter. Also want to talk about, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. Oh, I wanted to bring up that Balance Skeins Safe for Work mal is still going on, as well as a Stash Buster mal by M1Yarns, Jamie, I think. Jamie of M1Yarns, and you use the hashtag StashBustMal 2022, and you can use it on Instagram, you can use it on the internet, you can use it on Instagram, you can use it on YouTube. If you're looking for inspiration for those that are in the mail on YouTube, you can see it in blue. I think you can see it right under the video. Just click on it and it will lead you, I think, to this side. It will lead you to other videos that people are using stash, using projects from their stash instead of buying. So that's one of my goals for the year. I'm really trying to stick to it, and I thought that was the perfect mal to join along in, and I think it ends in March. So this is one down, and maybe I can get a few more out of it before it ends. And I think there are prizes with the Safe for Work with Kendra of Balance Skeins. I think hers ends March, April, I forget. All the information will be down below in the show notes, which are on my blog. Please be sure to check out my blog because I write so much more and share photos that I don't necessarily share here on YouTube because I can spend more time doing that, and I know you guys' time is very valuable, especially viewing a video, so I try to keep them as short as possible. So check out the blog for the show notes, and all the links to everything that I'm talking about will be there. So the next thing is, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. No, I'm not missing anything. The next thing is my current whip. I showed you guys like a little portion on it in a previous video, and it is the Cinnamon Swirl crochet version of the Knit Stole by Universal Yarns, their Winter 2021 collection. It is a gorgeous, I'm gonna call it wrap. Now, I really splurged when I bought that kit. You can't purchase it online. You can't purchase the pattern separately either, at least as of now, to my knowledge. You have to purchase the kit through your local yarn store, and you know what? I made a video for it. I'll put a card in so that you can click on the card and watch the video to see all the contents that are in it. But like I mentioned, it is a pay-for pattern, so just like the Rundle socks, there's so much I won't be able to share with you. But so far with the pattern, you know, I showed y'all that little bitty portion I was working on. Well, this is where I am now. I've got one panel completely finished and have started on the second panel. And I have made a mistake that I won't be frogging. Kim of Unapologetically Mocha, I will not be frogging this. But my mistake, you wouldn't know it unless you knew the pattern really. But my mistake is that there's not supposed to be a bobble here in each one in the sequence, that's all. I'm not frogging it. So we have the first panel done, and going into the second panel, which I really didn't have any issues with. This was the problem. This first panel was such an easy read, so easy to understand, but I am always distracted. Like, honestly, this is my fourth take. I just heard somebody again. This is my fourth take for a video. I have very limited concentration, and I call myself trying to work this up at night when everyone's asleep, but I was sleepy too. So unfortunately, I didn't follow it to a T, but it's such a nice pattern sequence that it felt so meditative for me to work it that way that I went with it and didn't go back and look at the pattern to make sure that was exactly right. But I did work, I hope I worked the right amount of rows. I think I did, because I've already attached the panel. And this, actually, the attachment of the panel, there is a video that I'll post here that Universal Yarns has added to their YouTube library. But what I really needed some direction on is this section here. Being a beginner pattern reader, I kind of had to go with my experience of crochet, because I've already done something similar to that, to know what to do here. I think, try not to give too much of the pattern away, I think if they would have used explain this with parentheses, it would have made a little bit more sense right here in this section. But because I have experience working this type of detail, I knew what to do. I hope I did that right. But the way that it was written, let me see how to say, the way that it was written when you work back this way made it seem that you work it into this inside right here. I'll just put it like that. So I won't say that this pattern is for a beginner crocheter, because I can already tell a few things like that are going to pop up. But I will say that it's for an advanced beginner crocheter. I'll put it like that. This is a very nice pattern. It is very well written. It's beautiful. Do you see this? Look at that texture. Oh my goodness, so pretty. Now, I mentioned that I really splurged when I bought this kit, but I want to explain why. When I make things, because there aren't very many people in my life that I find to be crochet worthy or knit worthy, where I know they're going to care for the things that I've given them. They may love me to death, but they might not necessarily care about the time that it took for me to make what I'm making, or how much the yarn costs to make it. So I don't have very many people in my life that I know to be crochet worthy or handmade worthy, but my children are, and I'm pretty sure they'll pass that same love and appreciation, to have love and appreciation onto their children if they decide to have any. And this is something, when I saw it, that I want to be in my family for generations to come if possible. Now, I mentioned that I have a video, and I'll put the card up here. You can click on it so you can see the contents of what all this entails, but it is a high percentage of cotton, a low percent of polyamide. It is such a great quality yarn, and I would love for this to be passed down when I'm not here anymore. And I think that the women, especially in the family, the children in the family, maybe the men too, would love cozying up with this during those winter months. And hopefully I can even leave something behind with it to let them know when and how it was made, where it came from, and inspiration, all that stuff. But anyways, I can't wait to have this finished. I think this will be one of my most proud pieces, most cherished pieces of my whole handmade collection. And it's so funny because it's not even for me. But anyways, this will have fringe. I don't know if you noticed from the pictures. I'm really excited about that too. I like fringe. So, that's enough of that. that's where I am with that. And I won't be starting any other projects anytime soon. You already have seen that I had started on my Snuggle Puff pullover, that it's gonna wait a bit until I finish this stole, this wrap from Universal Yarns. But in the meantime, I did explain that I'm going through my yarn and I'm taking notes of inventory and I'm picking yarns for and finding patterns or drawing ideas of things that I want to make in the future with the yarns that I have for my stash. Well, I love these yarns. I love all these yarns together. It's just gonna be hard to hold together. These are gorgeous. And yes, these are like two different color fuchsias right here. This actually, I really want to talk about this. This is Cascade Yarns Heritage. 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's a sock weight. Sock fingering, it's all the same. And, oops, it's 437 yards. Recommended crochet hook size is a 2.75 to 3.5. And knitting, it is a US 1 to a US 3. This yarn was made in India and it feels luxurious. And the colorway is fuchsia. Now this is a Malabrigo. I think this was 100% superwash merino. Fuchsia, sock weight, like 460 something yards. 100% superwash merino. 402 meters. I hate pulling the label out, y'all. 440 yards. And this is a Malabrigo light. I think it's called Light of Love. I think it's gonna have the same spec. Oh, it's so soft. They are not very silent, but they are beautiful. And they are very smooth and soft. And I dropped the Misfit yarn. So I want to work up a colorwork sweater crochet with these. And that way you can have a picture of what they are. So in the wintertime, I love to wear bold colors, sometimes a lot of black and white. See the contrast? And I thought this would make a great, maybe a mosaic sweater, a mosaic crochet sweater. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm really excited about using these. So I'm going to be working on drawing up a few things for those particular yarns. If you have any ideas, any suggestions, I would love for you to share them in the comments below. But that is all I have to share with you today. Thank you so much for taking some time out with me today. I'm really excited about my projects for this year. I can't wait to share more with you. Can't wait to see what you're working on as well. But yeah, I feel like there's something else I'm forgetting. If I am forgetting something, I'll just pop it back on here. And I hope that's okay. So anyways, sounds like my kids are getting rowdy anyways. But thanks you guys so much for stopping in again and watching another video with me. And I hope that you have a great day, a great week. I swear it feels like I'm forgetting something. But anyways, I will see you again in the next one. Be sure to take care of yourself, because you cannot take care of those that you love if you're not taking care of you. But take care of yourselves, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.